seat in Prince William and Stafford, which is in the 2nd District. As you all know, we have a very important election coming up on November 7th, and it's a lot at stake. So it's really important for us to get as much support as we can, because we all know what happens when Democrats don't vote, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So that's a little bit about me. So I was a foster parent for about 8 years. And then as a foster parent, I saw that there were some needs that weren't being met. So I decided to start a nonprofit called the Foundation for Foster and Orphan Children, where we mentor, tutor, and find permanent families for foster kids. I also was a magistrate judicial officer in Richmond. And I saw there a disparity in the criminal justice system. I saw that different people were getting different dispositions. And I don't think that justice should be served depending upon your ethnicity or your zip code. So I said that I was going to be a public defender, and that's where I represent some of the Commonwealth's most vulnerable citizens. So I represent children, people with mental health issues and illnesses, and people who are chronically poor, and also children. So one of the most atrocious things that I encounter on a daily basis is trying to prevent 10 and 12-year-olds from being convicted felons. I oftentimes have clients. I had one, his name was Juan, and his only crime was being poor and being cold. And he took a jacket. He took a coat, and that coat happened to be over $200. And I found myself fighting for months to prevent him from being a convicted felon. Having that stamp on him for the rest of his life, preventing him from being able to obtain a job, from being able to potentially get Pell Grants, going to college, housing, losing all of those opportunities. And his one crime was being cold. And so that's when I said, you know what, there's something that I need to do. So I started canvassing and getting out the vote for Obama and Hillary, and then for Bernie. And I did it because I knew that we need to get progressive and democratic ideas and values back down to the General Assembly. So I have to tell you that after Trump was elected, it really, really pissed me off. And I said, you know what, I need to do something, but I didn't quite know what. So then I saw in the General Assembly, they were doing things such as trying to defund Planned Parenthood. They wanted to make Roe versus Wade anniversary a day of tears, which basically means that the flag has to be flown half-staff in Virginia, that it's a day of mourning officially. They also tried to make it so women would have to report any type of miscarriage to the police, as if some type of crime has been committed, and make her endure that trauma repeatedly. So I said, you know what, in order for these things to not happen, we have to have a seat at the table. There needs to be more women, there needs to be more minorities, people of diverse backgrounds, social, economic, and religious groups. We have to stand and we have to do something now. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to run. So I said, I'm a leader, and I'm an advocate, I'm passionate, and I'm pissed off. I hope you guys are pissed off with me. And we can use any and all help that we can get to expand Medicaid to the 400,000 Virginians who don't have insurance. So we can make sure that we do not defund Planned Parenthood, that we increase teacher salaries to our teachers in Prince William and Stafford. We have over 211 trailers in Prince William County, but we're one of the wealthiest counties in Virginia. And those trailers happen to be in only particular communities. And those communities are filled with brown people, right? And so I want to bring attention to that. I want to make sure that that doesn't happen, because all children should have access to great education to prepare them for the global economy. So also improving transportation in Prince William and Stafford. If any of you have traveled in Northern Virginia, you know it can take 2 hours to go 23 miles. Now these are quality of life issues. Now the Republicans want you to focus on things that don't really matter. I want to focus on things that affect people on a daily basis. I also have a great economic and jobs program that we want to make sure that we effectuate, because that's what's important, making sure people can feed their families and have a job to go to. So Democrats win. Democrats care about jobs, they care about the economy. We are the Big Tent community, and we just have to make sure we get people out, because that's how we have Republicans in these positions, because Democrats need to get out to vote. And I'll be able to do that with your help. We ask that your assistance to help phone banking, texting, anything that you can do to help us make sure we win on November 7th. So I want to thank you all for your time, and let's take it blue down the ballot.
For taking mic from a woman taller than me. So I'm very grateful for each of you all being here and all of your support. My name is Dr. Dawn Adams, and I am a nurse practitioner. I plan to also bring diversity to the General Assembly, as I will be the first nurse practitioner ever in the General Assembly. I am running from District 68, which is part of Richmond. It extends into 3 precincts up in Henrico County, which goes west of Richmond, and then it crosses the river into northern Chesterfield. And why I'm running is because I really felt called to run. I actually felt it in my being that I needed to do this. I felt like I had now the skill set to be able to make a difference, and I understood the system, having gone from the private sector into the public sector, and really looking at how the General Assembly does and doesn't function relative to people and their quality of life. Probably many of the reasons and issues that I'm running are not dissimilar to Jennifer's or any other Democrat. We have some fundamental values that do have to do with quality of life, and so my campaign is about building healthier communities through better policy. Hey, didn't expect to see somebody from Richmond. Anyways, so I have been a nurse practitioner since '99 and a nurse since 1986. That makes me pretty old. And I've seen a lot of things in Virginia, and I've seen a lot of good growth in Virginia, but we can do better. We know that we have not expanded Medicaid, and the problem, as I see it, is that we don't have good advocates for explaining why this is important. Now, one of the things that I learned is that in the House, which has 100 seats, there are only 9 people with a healthcare background and 7 are Republican. Almost all of them are in power positions, and on the Democratic side, we have no one in a power position. So it's really hard to explain the significance if you don't have anybody that can translate that information. I am also, I teach health policy to nurse executives and advanced practice nurses working on their doctorate. And what I know from that is that you can make a difference. One person can make a difference. It is really a squeaky wheel kind of scenario. And so that should be very exciting for everybody because you can make a difference by coming out and helping us, but we know Virginians can make a difference if they actually go in and talk to their legislatures. So I want to be a legislature that people can talk to. That is one of the strengths that I think I can bring to the General Assembly, is just communicating difficult concepts in the face of a lot of tension. I got into this race because of the partisanship. It really upset me. I think it's unsustainable. I think it's unhealthy for our children. It's unhealthy for our future. We have got to figure out ways to talk to each other. And I think one of the epidemics we have in our country right now is social isolation that kind of comes from being in your phone and being on Facebook and creating subgroups where we don't talk to each other. I think it just exacerbates the problem. I currently work for the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services. I create programs for the developmentally disabled that don't exist in Virginia currently, and I do them in the most cost-effective manner possible. Partly because of procurement procedures, I can't spend my money, but a lot of it is the way it's designed. And so the whole narrative that you can't be a Democrat and fiscally responsible is wrong. And so we need to really reclaim fiscal responsibility as something that we do well. Education is critically important. Part of my campaign message and making sure that people can get a good education from pre-K through trade school or college without strapping debt, so that kids can get out of their folks' house. We want you out. No, I'm just kidding. But kids need to be able to, young adults need to be able to stand on their own 2 feet and know what it feels like to get their own apartment and be able to afford that and have good jobs. Our governor has done a really good job of decreasing the unemployment rate, but what we really need to do is increase better paying jobs. And so that is a big message for my district and the state at large. And we know that we can do that, and we have ample opportunity to do that. We know that there will be a brain drain in state government, so we need people in state government, but we need to pay them well. We know that there's going to be a lack of physicians and nurses in the next 5 to 10 years, and we need to retrain people. We know that we need infrastructure, and we need to do research and development in the environmental movement. So we know that we can get good paying jobs with people in solar and wind, and we need infrastructure, redevelopment, and broadband across the state. These are all sources of good paying jobs. I am personally against the pipeline. My district is very interested in environmental issues. We have the James River that runs through it, and it's very important to us. So I know I talked a lot. I'll say one more thing. And this is not something that I even knew or thought about before I ran. But in Virginia is the oldest legislative body in the country, 400 years old. There has never, ever been an openly lesbian person in the General Assembly. And I hope to change that.